Welcome back, everybody, to 31 Horror Movies from the 2000s, where I'm counting down my favorite horror movies from 2000 to 2009. So, this is our second video in the countdown, and we have our first French horror movie on the list. You're going to see a few more of them as we go on, but at number 30, we have the French horror movie Frontiers. Now, the 2000s was notorious for that French extreme movement. There were so many great, messed up French horror movies that came out during this decade, two of which did not make the list are High Tension, aka Switchblade Romance, and this one that I'm kind of disappointed didn't make the list, Irreversible. The only reason Irreversible did not make this list is because I saw it very recently, and it's been a movie that I had put off watching for a very long time. I finally sat down and watched it about a month or two ago, and I loved it. But the only reason I didn't put it on this list is because of how recently I saw it. When I see a movie that's like very recent, I like it to sit with me for a while before I put it on a movie like this. So as the years go on, Irreversible probably going to get higher on this list. But for now, the first French horror movie we have on this list is Frontiers. So, in Frontiers, we have this gang of juvenile delinquents who are fleeing from Paris during these horrible riots, and they end up taking shelter at this home, and it turns out to be a home of neo-Nazis, and as you would expect, things get very, very bad. There's a reason that they call this batch of movies French extremes, because they are very dirty, very violent, very disturbing. The French made some of the most disturbing movies that came out in the 2000s. And some of them are more disturbing than others, but every one of them was dark and disturbing, and Frontiers is just so unbelievably gritty. It does have a bit of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre feel to it, because we are dealing with a family, and there is a scene towards the end where a bunch of people are sitting at a dinner table, which is very Texas Chainsaw Massacre-esque. But the main thing about a lot of French horror movies is how depressing they are. I've seen a lot of French horror movies, and I have yet to see one that has much of a happy ending. There are a couple, but most of them, no. Because, like in 1980s, there's a French horror movie called Baxter, which is a movie about a talking dog, and leave it to the French to make a movie about a talking dog one of the most depressing movies you will ever see. But back to Frontiers, like, one of my favorite things about this is how dirty it is, and how it does have a Texas Chainsaw Massacre feel to it without having to be a Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. It gets, like, every French horror movie gets really intense at certain points, but my favorite thing about Frontiers is the main final girl. So, our leading lady is Yasmin, and she is one of the most capable final girls you see in a horror movie. Something that is very common in horror movies is that those of us who watch horror movies tend to forget that the people in the movie don't know that they're in a horror movie. So, in a lot of horror movies you have people making stupid decisions, which doesn't bother me too much as long as it's not the only thing moving the plot forward. Like, I understand people can make bad decisions or stupid decisions in certain stressful situations, but for me, when the only thing moving the plot forward are the characters making dumb decision after dumb decision after dumb decision after dumb decision, it annoys me, because that's lazy. Having everybody in your movie be idiots and having dumb decisions be the only thing moving your plot forward is lazy to me. There are movies where it can work, but most of the time it does not, and most of the time it will annoy me. But with Yasmin in Frontiers, I got such a kick out of watching her in this movie because, you know, we all have those ideas of, oh, what would we do in this situation? We always, when a horror movie is really good and really intense, you end up yelling things at the screen or saying things to the screen like, oh God, girl, do this, come on, do this, and then you'll be able to get out of there. And what was so funny, I mean, Frontiers is not a funny movie, but what I got such a kick out of it was I would say something to the screen like, oh God, girl, do this. And then the character would do that. And I was just like, eh? And then it would get on, and then I would say, again, it's like, okay, girl, oh my God, you know, do this to get out of there. Do this so you can get out of there. And then again, the character would do that. And it was a repeated thing, you know, it's like, not that the movie was predictable, I was expecting the character to make a bunch of dumb decisions, but that's not what was happening. I would think of something like, oh God, girl, do this, and then she would do that, and then it would help her get out of the situation, and I got such a kick out of it. It's like, oh my God, a character in a horror movie who thinks. And, like, I don't know what I would do in a horror movie. We all like to think that we know what we would do in these situations, but we don't really know because we've never been in those situations. We've never, you know, hopefully most of us have never had to deal with this kind of situation, and hopefully we never will. I know there are some people who tragically have had to deal with that, but my point is, the majority of us hopefully have never been in that situation, and hopefully will never be in that situation. But we like to think that we would know how to handle ourselves. Yasmin in Frontiers is a perfect example of a character that I would hope I would handle myself as. I hope that I would do what she does in this movie to get out of the situation. But, you know, as many French extreme movies, Frontiers has so many violent moments, so many disturbing moments, and I love how dirty this movie is. Like, something I love in movies is dirt and grit, because I hate when movies are just are too clean, because life is dirty, and I appreciate when movies allow things to be dirty, because there are a lot of movies out there that are a little too clean, and you just wish for a little dirt in there to make it feel more connected to actual reality. But anyway, I appreciate how dirty Frontiers is, I appreciate how gritty it is, I appreciate how violent it is, but my favorite thing about Frontiers is it has such a great final girl that I guess could read my mind. Not really, of course, but I just enjoyed the fact. I know that's weird, but the majority of enjoyment I got from Frontiers was thinking something in my head that the character could do and seeing the character do it. But yeah, Frontiers, this is the first French horror movie we have on the list for the 2000s, and we're going to have many more to come. But Frontiers, a great, great French horror movie with a great final girl.